Good morning, YouTube. Trying to see who's out there early in the morning. Still trying to play around with these times to see if I can catch different folks. In one of my last videos, I was talking about what's good. Good morning. Now I can see the screen, and I'm having some technical difficulties with my fucking. Hold on, I'm sorry. Phone. My little phone thing here is not. It's not acting right. Son of a bitch. Good morning. Yeah, I said in one of my last live videos that I'm trying to play around with the times. I got some supporters, some loyal followers, like a lot of you guys and girls from the UK, from overseas, and um, and obviously the time zone is off. So just trying to see if just play around with these times. The whole live thing it is fun, I gotta admit, because even though some of you know why I've had to block comments on my channel, and I'm not in this, like I said, I'm actually making a video soon that's gonna be titled "I'm not in it for the likes," which is, I'm old school, and most of you guys and girls that follow me know that, especially everybody that's been riding with me from day one. I don't really get into the whole likes and the comments, and it's nothing against you guys. It's just that certain individuals, have misused and abused the comments, and you know, that's why I had to make the decision to block them. But when it comes to the live videos, I gotta admit I do like them because it's the only, especially because I just started following you half a month ago. Love you so much. Respect for what you do. Thank you, Jeff UK. Thank you. I appreciate that last comment, and I appreciate it. And if you start following me, there's gonna be a lot of good stuff coming. Plus, there's about almost, I want to say close to 900 videos. I know at least 800 something, close to 900 videos. So there's a whole basically, selection to choose from. Some of my earlier stuff, and I appreciate that new follower. And again, I'm just trying to play. I don't want to repeat here, but in case I see more people joining the live, just want to play around with the times a little bit so that everybody has an opportunity. One thing I used to get when I did have comments, or even now when you guys are girls are able to comment on the live, is that people would say, "I missed your live last time," or "What time do you go on?" And there's no set time. You know what I mean? I don't like to necessarily follow a schedule like that. Maybe down the road I will, but Jeff. So again, I appreciate new follower. Thank you for the comment. 1:06 p.m. in the UK. There we go. That's my man right there. Thank you for tuning in. I've been trying to play around. I don't know if you've seen my other lives. After the good thing about a live is that it's fun when I'm on here, because again, especially that I've had to block comments. It's fun that at least that's a way for me to interact with you guys and girls. You know what I mean? So that's why I really like the live. Also, from a producing, if I want to call it that, point of view, there's no editing, splicing, blending, fading, uploading. Live is just basically you hit live. I'm sorry, Jeff, I missed that last comment. I apologize. If you want to send it again, so with the live, it's just boom, press live and you're on there, and that's what I like. Uh, my man Davy, where the hell have you been? 207 in Denmark. Oh, wow, nice. I'm sorry, I'm trying to play with this. 207 in Denmark. We got Denmark in the house. I appreciate the love. 207. Yeah, see, and that's why I try to play with the times, because if I'm not mistaken, if I go, in other words, if I go on, like, I don't know, let's say whatever, let's say 10 at night, then obviously it's going to be later in the UK, right? Later in Denmark. So obviously, some people will miss out. So that's why I'm trying to play around with the whole live stuff. And as far as these things go in and out, I don't know if it's because I'm on my phone. I've never done a live like on a computer, really, a laptop or whatever. I do it all on my phone. Everything you see is on my phone. I don't know why the comments leave so soon. I'm not, like I said, I'm old school. I've been doing this way before YouTube. If anyone is on there remembers my hip-hop show, hip-hop variety show, Keep It on the Real, in the 1990s. I live in Rochester. well of the RPD. They are above the law. Can't stand it. About 40. Yep. In Europe. Yep, Jeff. Yep. Yeah, it's funny. I appreciate other overseas, love, and the UK um, has been always supportive. I've done blog interviews over there. Big ups and support from 413. Always watching. Much respect, bro. Thank you, Christopher. I think it was Christopher. They go on. I don't know why they just the uh, the comments just go in and out so quick. Thank you. I appreciate it. 413. Um, UK has always supported. I've done interviews on radio podcast, blog spot, blog different blog. Davy V, what's good? What's good, Eastwood? You tell me. Thank you for coming through. Just trying to play around with these live times, you know what I mean? And I was just saying that doing the lives is a lot of fun because, especially since I have to block comments because uh, certain individuals just can't behave and have abused and misused the comments. So I had to make the decision, which wasn't easy, to block comments. The live is good because we get to interact, and I'm trying to play around with the time so that everybody gets an opportunity to say what's up, and I can say what's up back. That's why it's fun. Check it out. Back to the comment about above the law. One of the reasons I wanted to make this video, and I'll get on later today. This is early in the morning, Rochester, New York. It's about 8 a.m. more or less. The reason I wanted to do this real quick is because, you know, not that I have to explain it or whatever, but there's always someone that says, Davey, really, come on, that video, come on, that cop, he left the car running, come on, that other cop, he didn't use his turn signal to turn. Here's the thing that for years I've tried to show folks, right? And the majority of folks that already know that police have this above the law, entitled mentality, that they feel that basically because they don the uniform and they wear the badge every day, and obviously because they know, here's the thing, because they know that they're protected, right? Many of them, not all, but many misuse that power and that authority. And even though it seems minimal and small to some people, okay, Fluke Dog is a UK auditor. I'm gonna check that out. I'm gonna check him out. Yeah, I want to see more stuff about the UK. You know what I mean? I've been doing this for a while, but I like to see how other. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know. I got to tighten this. It's loose, so if it drops, I apologize. I want to see how other folks in the UK do it, and it's great. It's just wonderful to see literally across the pond that you folks are over there in the UK that I got a lot of love for. That how you guys do it. You know what I mean? And girls. So when it comes to these above the law videos that I post, okay, like the one I just posted, which I'll get to in a minute, right? A lot of folks, and it's really, really disturbing, some folks continue to this day, after seeing how police across the country and across the world, right, abuse and misuse their power and authority. Some folks still defend them. And these are what you call, I guess, the cop apologists, that no matter what, police can do no wrong. And it's funny because some smart folks, right, and some of the informed and just folks that are free thinking and that see what's going on and that are smart enough to understand what they're looking at when they look at these videos, right? And not just mine, but other videos, millions of videos that have been posted, right? 413 Springfield, Massachusetts. No, Springfield, what? Yeah. Why? Oh, man, I missed that. I'm sorry. This becomes like a comedy skit. Springfield, was it Massachusetts? I'm sorry about that. It went off so quick. I'm gonna find out why these. I don't know if there's a way to make these comments like stay on here longer. But most of the folks there are a lot of folks, including law enforcement officers, who understand this, especially some law enforcement officers, whether they want to admit it or not. Yeah, Mass. I'm sorry. Yep. Springfield, Massachusetts. That's what I thought it said. Then I saw like a W. I wasn't sure if it was Washington State or something. Yeah, Massachusetts, no doubt. I've been through Massachusetts, by the way. If you Google RPD, hold on. I got pulled over 2 days ago on Clinton, just driving home from work. I work down and live in Irondequoit and always take the city home. Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, I've been pulled over on Clinton, you know what I mean? Which actually, I love that. that's a great segue to what I'm going to talk about in a minute, the Clinton thing. So I'm going to put a pin in that for a minute. You'll see why in a second. But perfect segue. I love that you made that comment. I love it. Because there was an incident, I'll get into it in a minute, like I said, but there was an incident last year with me and a couple of Rochester, New York police officers, right? Um, especially one who I've, no doubt, especially one who I've criticized a lot over the years for being abusive and literally breaking people's faces. He's fractured at least two orbital fractures on innocent Latino men, and I'll get to that in a minute. How it ties in with the video I posted last night. But anyways, I lost my train of thought here a little bit. But the thing is that when it comes to the whole um, above the law mentality, right? A lot of individuals, a lot of folks, a lot of smart, free thinking folks, right, who are not bootlickers, who are not cop apologists, who don't simply give a police officer a free pass simply because they're a police officer, right? Who can discern a good cop if I'm a little wary about that, but I want to believe that good cops exist, right? My thing with good cops, when people say that, is that, as somebody who was always against bullying in school and always stuck up for the little kid with the thick glasses who was getting picked on Freshman Friday, right? For those not familiar with Freshman Friday, I don't know if they have the same saying in UK. Basically, when you enter high school, that first year of high school, which is ninth grade typically, right? I mean, some junior high and high schools are combined, but ninth grade, for some reason, there's always like this, bullying of the new, of the small little scrawny kid with glasses or whatever, and they get picked on. And I was always the one that intervened, and I hated bullying. And it's crazy because a lot of my work, a lot of my dad's work, my dad was bullied by the RPD, There's cyberbullying nowadays, which is why I had to delete, block the comments. So I've always been against bullying. So when I talk about there's good police officers, I also say, I say that with a little grain of salt because I want to believe that. And in some ways, I do believe they're good police officers. But then where it gets hard for me to really take it all in is that a good police officer would never allow, right, bullying. Think about that. If you're seeing a kid getting bullied, right, and you do nothing, zero, nada, to intervene, to help that kid that's getting bullied, what does that make you? That makes you complicit in the bullying, right or wrong. That makes you a participant. And in my opinion, and in many people's free thinkers' opinion that are smart and can see the truth, people know that makes them, that person that does nothing, that sits by and just watches, sits by idly and does nothing, that makes them what? That makes them a bully themselves. Think about it. So when I say there's good police officers, I want to believe that, but how could a good, quote unquote, good police officer, right, see abuse committed right in front of him or her by one of his or her fellow brothers, sisters in blue? Because we know it's like a gang, right? I mean, let's just be honest about it. It's, it's a legal gang. And do nothing about it. Not say anything, not intervene, not hold back his or her fellow brother or sister in blue. What does that make them? And then how can they then be referred to as a good cop, right? So enough about that, because I've talked about that. We'll talk about that in the future. But I just wanted to put that in there. My thoughts on what a good cop is, or what a good cop should be. A good cop, simply put, a good cop wouldn't just sit by idly, watch bullying, and do nothing. A good cop wouldn't do that. So when it comes to this above the law entitlement that police officers, many police officers, I want to say the majority, but I'll be a little nice here. Because I know for a fact that there's been police officers that have agreed with me on this self-entitlement kind of above the law. I can do what I want, do as I say, not as I do mentality. And that's exactly what happened with the video I posted last night, which, by the way, not that it matters, most of the videos that you see here are me. And you can hear me talking. You can hear it's my Davy V TV dash cam rolling in my car. But a lot of the videos, a good portion of the videos are videos that are sent in by viewers, which, yes, you guys can reach me. If cops ride on cops, they get weeded out. That is true, actually. Well, I'm not sure how you mean your comment, that if the bad cops get weeded out, or you mean, right. I think you mean the good cops or the cops that rat. That is true. There is a certain, that's very true. Very, very good comment. Good morning. That's just true. I can't even deny that. Serpico, one of my favorite movies based on a true story. Frank Serpico, right? One of my favorite actors, Al Pacino, plays him. Movies from the 70s. It's about that. If somebody's not familiar with the Serpico story, look it up. A cop that got into being a cop, got into policing for all the right reasons. It's what he wanted to do. And quickly, right as a rookie, he started seeing the payouts, right? The takes, the cash payouts. He looked the other way. And I'm not going to give the story away, but it's a real story. The movie's based on a real story. It actually happened. Frank Serpico's still alive to this day. And, he was almost killed. And I'll leave it at that in case some folks are not familiar. Maybe some of my younger viewers are not familiar with the with the story. But absolutely, that is a phenomenon that happens. That is very true. That cops get basically singled out, weeded out, and targeted. And I understand that, but still, I mean, what's the alternative? You're going to remain in a job, in a career where you're going to see abuse every day and do nothing about it. The problem in The Rock is too many cover-ups with police officers, other cops. Absolutely, other media. Serpico, good story. Absolutely, Jeff. Yep. And it was Jeff that said that, by the way. Yeah. And back to the Rock comment, 585 right here, Clinton, which I'll get to in a minute, is absolutely. In Rochester, New York, that's a great, man. You guys are and girls making some great points today. The phenomenon that happens here in Rochester, right? And I live in Rochester. This is my hometown. So I don't know about other parts. I know about other parts, but I'm talking about living and experiencing Rochester, New York. Rochester, New York is one of the most corrupt, good old boys towns in the country. Rochester, New York is corrupt in many ways, in the power structure, in the politicians here, in the news media, which, by the way, many of the news media here in Rochester, New York, okay, are married to law enforcement officers. I can name off a list, and I have in my blog, the Davy V blog, which if you're not familiar with, check out. I talk about it a lot, and I've talked about it over the years. So that's a great comment. That Rochester is just literally, in every sense of the word, a good old boys town. Little cliques, little cliques between law enforcement and media, law enforcement and politicians, right? Career law enforcement officers who have been there for years and decades, who have roots into the system, right? Politicians who have been representing, not, but that's what they claim to do, this area, and have done nothing from Rochester. Then when you throw in there the irony that Rochester is basically the home of Frederick Douglass, right? Who started the North Star anti-slavery newspaper, who did so much great work, to help slaves, right? And who is known as the father of the civil rights movement here in this country. He's buried less than a couple of miles from where I'm sitting right now. Also the home of Susan B. Anthony, who did so much for women's rights, especially the right for women to vote, who never got to see her work pay off. She passed before, it became law, for women to vote. So it's ironic because you have Rochester, New York as this huge, look it up for yourself, huge hub and huge, rich civil rights history. But at the same time, you have one of the most corrupt, good old boys town in the country. So back to the video. The video was filmed by, and I'm talking about the video where you can look it up. It's the video right before this one. It's a Rochester, New York police officer who leaves his car running while he eats at a Chipotle restaurant in what's called College Town here in Rochester, New York, and not far from downtown Rochester. And basically, I didn't film the video. I'm just putting it out there. It was a viewer, a longtime follower of the Davy V TV here, of the Davy V blog, of all my platforms and my work. Young man who has followed for years. Shout out to him. and he sent me the video. And basically, what's wrong with the video? Now let me take the stance of what the cop apologists would say. Right? Come on, Davy V, are you serious? This is why I don't like you. These are some of the messages I've gotten before. You know, I'm even doing the voice. I don't know why I'm changing the voice, but because these have been written messages, but I'm gonna go ahead and have fun with it and change the voice. Come on, Davy V, this is small stuff. This is what makes you look bad. This is why I don't like you. This is why I can't agree with you on stuff. He just left the car running, or they just missed the turn signal. What's the big deal? Here's the big deal. The big deal is that these individuals, these men and women that don a blue or black, navy blue, whatever fucking color they do, uniform, and a tin badge, right? These individuals are supposed to protect and serve the communities they patrol in, but even more important than that, or is equally as important, they're supposed to uphold the law and the Constitution, right? But what happens is they get so power hungry and they get so this entitled mentality that comes with the job, right? And comes with the protection they know they have, that they take on this mentality and this behavior, this very disturbing behavior of do as I say, not as I do. And what do I mean by that? Well, if a police officer in any part of the world that you are now, probably even the UK, if he or she sees you not do a turn signal, right? Not signal a lane turn, right? Turning or lane change. You're changing lanes, right? That police officer will pull you over. That police officer then has the power to fine you money, to generate revenue for his or her village, town, city, state, right? And they will do that. And they do that every day. Get in front of a cop and don't use a turn signal. Get in front of a cop and don't signal a lane change. And get back to me and tell me what happens if you don't believe me, right? Now, in this case, the cop went to eat lunch or whatever, dinner, whatever. It happened in the afternoon. Maybe it was a late dinner, lunch, whatever. And he left the Rochester, New York police cruiser running in the parking lot. I understand that some folks that don't get it, some folks who are not awoke yet to the fact of how police officers abuse their power and authority. I understand. I'll empathize with you a little bit because you guys simply just don't get it. Maybe one day you will, but you don't get it. Good morning, Red Comet. What's good, my man? Thank you for coming through. Thank you. One of the day ones right there. Always riding with me. So I understand that some folks don't get it. But let me help you a little bit. Let me attempt to help you a little bit to understand better, okay? That do as I say, not as I do mentality was clear in that video of the RPD cruiser left running. And as small as it may seem to some people, keep in mind, things start small, right? Abuse of power. Just woke up and had the notification, had to pull through. No doubt. I appreciate that. I'm playing around with the times. I was telling my man Jeff from the UK that I'm playing. UK is in the house. Denmark is in the house. Red Comic. I was just telling my man, that I was playing around with the times, trying to include everybody, since I have a lot of supporters and followers in the overseas UK area. Denmark's in the house. I wanted to make it play around with the times to include everybody. So keep that in mind, that above the law mentality and above the law behavior, right? Starts small. It starts with, and I have these videos, find them. They're on there. They're some of the 800 plus, almost 900 videos I have. Red Comic probably knows this. A lot of the people that have been writing from day one pretty much probably have seen this video. What does that lead a police officer to do? Well, it leads them to do shit like, I'm going to park in this handicapped parking space. Remember this one, Red Comic? I'm going to park in this handicapped parking space while I go to a coffee shop on West Main Street in the city. Why? Because I'm a cop and I can do it. You can't do it, but I can do it. So again, do as I say, not as I do. Right? And that's the mentality. Or I'm going to not give a shit. I'm too lazy to literally lift my arm up a fraction of an inch to hit a plastic turn signal knob to indicate that I'm going to turn lanes. I don't really have to do it because I'm a cop and I don't have to do it. You have to do it, but again, do as I say, not as I do. The rules that apply to you don't apply to me. In other words, that's what a cop would think, right? The rules that apply to Joe and Jill Citizen, Jack and Jill Citizen, whatever, don't apply to cops. And that's exactly what you see in that video. And here's where I tie it all in. Do I still have Clinton in the house? Is Clinton in the house still? Is East Side in the house where he made that comment about driving home and got pulled over on Clinton? Check this out. Here's, no doubt, yes, sir, Mike, 585. Here's why I tie it in with Mike's story. I'm here, no doubt. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Now you see why your comment came right on time, my brother. I mean, right perfect, right? Last year, I was on Clinton Avenue, right? I had gone to get some Spanish food, being Cuban, right? Not a lot of Cuban spots here. Nothing against Puerto Rican. I got family that's Puerto Rican. Shout out to all my Boricuas. Hola, Boricua, ¿cómo están todos? You know, nothing against Puerto Ricans, but every now and then I crave some good Spanish food. And, you know, Puerto Ricans are deep here in Rochester. So my only choice is usually, you know, Puerto Rican or Dominican food. I went to the east side, around Clinton Avenue, to a restaurant I like. Got a little, you know, food for me and the kids. It was about an hour before they were going to get off the bus, you know, be home from school. Wanted to surprise them, but didn't want to cook that day, right? And I was pulled over, or I stopped to record a Rochester, New York police officer. As a result of me recording that Rochester, New York police officer, who has a long history of abuse and corruption here in this city, right? Who the city of Rochester and Mayor Lovely Warren is very well aware that this individual is a problem, you know, and a liability, right? So anyways, to retaliate against me for video recording him arresting a young black man, this RPD cop basically retaliated by giving me several tickets. One of the tickets was for having tinted windows on a vehicle that I had purchased with tinted windows, right? And the windows weren't really dark, but they were tinted. But the other ticket was for leaving my car running and unattended, which I did. I actually did leave it running and unattended. I got out, I parked in a legal parking spot on the side of the street, wasn't blocking anything, right? I was legally parked, but I left the ignition running. I left the key in the ignition. In other words, I left the car running, right? I was only 10 feet away from the car. I never entered a building like this cop did in the video. I never lost sight of the car like this cop did in the video. I don't know if he lost sight of it or not, but my point is that he was in an enclosure, right? He was in a building and the vehicle was running. So my car was running 5 or 10 feet from me, right? 10 feet at the most. I got a ticket. I got $115 fine. I think I saw that video you posted. You didn't do anything wrong because you have the right. Of course. But they don't want to hear that you have the right to record. Listen, folks, this is how I always tell people. Absolutely, you have the First Amendment protected right to record. Many years ago, the Supreme Court of this land, the highest court in the country, ruled, and they've ruled this several times, they've ruled that the right to record, the right to video record and take photographs of public officials, of buildings, of places, of anything that's in public, right? Where there's no expectation of privacy, but especially of public servants like cops, is a legally protected right, protected under the First Amendment. So in essence, it's an extension. It's an extension of the First Amendment, which is free speech. So video recording and photographing law enforcement officers, right, buildings and public places, is an extension of your First Amendment right, which is your right to free speech. Let's get that clear. So absolutely that it was just retaliation. He didn't like it. So what happened was just for that, I got a ticket for $115 plus surcharges. I don't know if everyone's familiar. I don't know if in the UK they do this. Surcharges is basically, it's basically another way for the government to get in your pocket, and charge you more. So many times, okay, I'm not sure if most of you guys know this, but many times a surcharge could actually be more than the actual fine, which is ridiculous, which shows you that it's not about safety, right? That shows you that it's not about trying to, keep the streets safe or whatever. No, it's about basically fleecing citizens. It's about, you know, generating revenue again. I said a little while ago, for their city, for their villages, towns, cities, states, right? Hold on. The excuse, there are a lot of equipment in the car. That's why they waste taxpayers' money on fuel. Oh, of course, of course. Right, right. Well, no, I think another excuse that they would say is that, of course, they wouldn't comment to me. They wouldn't explain it. But another thing that I think they would say is the vehicle needs to be running in case there's an emergency. But here's the thing. Let's just compare apples to apples, right? If you, like I did, and I did do it, right? I didn't think about it. If you leave your vehicle running in most states, I'm not sure if it's all 50 states, right? But if you leave your vehicle running and you're unattended, meaning you're not in your vehicle and your car is running, you will be fined, at least in New York State, $115, excuse me, plus surcharges. Don't forget that. So again, as minimal as it may seem for people viewing that video of one of my fans, one of my followers for this channel, a young man who has been following and supporting my work for years, watching my videos, if anyone thinks that that video is minimal, is petty, come on, Davy V, really? Come on, really? Yes, really, yes. What is it about people that they don't understand? That these individuals who are paid to protect and serve and to uphold the Constitution instead violate it and abuse it? What is it? I don't understand. You can support cops. I support good cops, right? Which I already explained. I'm on the fence about the whole good thing, right? Because a good cop wouldn't condone any other cop abusing a citizen, right? Simply put, a good cop wouldn't stand by idly and just watch bullying occur. A good cop would intervene. And ask yourself, how many videos do you see of cops intervening? There's a couple, literally a couple, maybe 2 or 3. But again, not to ramble on here, right? Again, what is it about some folks that simply don't understand the fact that these individuals have no problem, they have no problem stopping you or your family and issuing you a ticket to generate revenue for their villages, towns, cities, and states. But yet, right in front of your eyes, right in front of your face, without a care in the world, they will do the same things that they stop you for. You guys saw it? He's stuffing his fucking face in the restaurant and his car is running in the outside. Again, if you're inclined to defend police, if you're basically a described cop apologist, right? My girl got pulled over in Webster recently, and the cop kept rudely asking her if she was doing what she was doing out there. Why can't she go to the city? Exactly. Wow, that's crazy. I wish she would have recorded that, Red Comic. That's crazy. Exactly. Absolutely. Exactly. So again, what is it that people just don't get? The only reason could be, and I've come to this conclusion the older I get in life, right? That some folks, I missed that one. Red Comic, send that one again. My bad, send that one again. I was looking away. Again, they go off so quick. The only thing that I've arrived at, right, is that certain individuals are just never gonna see it. They're either in denial, they just don't want to accept that. And I know it's hard. You're talking to someone who was raised from an early age to respect police and to always look for them if I was in trouble. Before cops terrorized me and my family, right? Before they tortured my dad to the point that he committed suicide, before they made his life a living hell. They go off so quick, Red. I'm sorry, bro. Before I saw what police are really capable of in this country, right? And across the world, but I'm talking more about here. Before that, I could understand how some folks just believe, no, police can do no wrong. Are you kidding me? You're gonna post a video of a guy, of a cop eating. He protects this community. He protects people. That's fine. That's his job. He signed up for that. But they shouldn't be above the law. They should not have this above the law mentality and behavior of do as I say, not as I do. And if you're one of those, and they're out there, you're watching right now, or you'll watch this video later. Yes, I'm talking to you. If you're one of those who is fine when a police officer gets behind you and follows you for miles and pulls you over and then gives you a ticket, and many times treats you very rude, very curt, very shrill, very cold in front of your family. Because there's some very disrespectful ones out there. There's some professional, they're still getting in your pocket, but there's also some very unprofessional ones. If you're one of those, and I'm speaking directly to you right now, if you're one of those that are fine with a police officer giving you a ticket, taking money from you and your family, let's be honest, let's call it what it is. If you're one of those that's fine with that, if you're one of those that's fine with an individual stopping you, restricting your freedom enough to give you a ticket to take money out of you and your family's mouth, out of you and your family's table, if you're fine with that, for something that he or she will do, always do, continue to do, and will do right in front of you when you're in traffic. How many times have you been riding and a cop just passes by on the phone? Of course, they will tell you that it's official business. I know other cities don't have the, no phone or whatever. New York State, you can't talk on the phone, right? You can't, you got to have a wireless, whatever, Bluetooth or whatever, right? You can't hold the phone to your ear, right? How many times have we seen that here in Rochester? Clinton, Red Comic. I mean, how many times have we seen that? They're laughing. Oh, God. They're joking. They're talking on the phone. They ride right by. They don't give a shit. They don't care. So if you're one of those, but let you do it, that's a fine here in New York State, as it is in other states across the country. But again, if you're one of those that's fine with, I know I'm rambling here and I'm going to wrap it up soon, but if you're one of those that's fine with, a police officer restricting your freedom, taking money from you and your family, and stopping you for the very same reason, I look at it as if they could act like a Nazi party in the 40s, control of the people. Jeff, you know what? Being Cuban, I always tell people, hey, with the police state comment, I'm always a little bit weary because I'm Cuban. I know my family fled a real police state. At least I still have the freedom here to stand and protest, and I've done it, and with a big bullhorn and get right in cops' faces, and I've done all that, right? Protesting and exercising my First Amendment right, which we still have. I'm not sure how much longer we'll have, but we still have. But I got to agree with you in some ways. You know what I mean? I got to agree with you. Some of them do act like the individuals you just said. The show me your papers. It's true. It is true. But again, thank you, Jeff. But again, UK in the house again. But again, to wrap it up here, there's some folks who will see that video or see any other video, or not even the video. Forget my videos. Forget about Davy V TV. There's folks that will be right in front or behind a cop and see a cop blatantly commit an offense that they know they themselves would be pulled over for. And guess what these folks would do? I call them the rubber stamp cop apologists. You know why? They'll rubber stamp it. Cool. That's okay. They can do that. He's an officer of the law. They can do that. That's not a big deal. Really? Love what you do for our community in Rochester and the other areas, because these cops are out of hand. Thanks, Mark. Mark, I'm always curious, and it's fun to see where people are chiming in from. We got UK, we got Rochester, we got Denmark in the house. Where you from, my brother? Just, you don't got to say the exact city if you want. You can say the state, or, it's just fun to see if you can do that. If not, it's not a big deal. If you could do that, I always like to see that. Anyways, I'm going to wrap up here. I wanted to get on here and mostly, again, play with the time a little bit, but also talk about that video, which I'm sure a lot of the cop apologists are really not feeling right now, and they're looking like, what's the big deal? Well, Clinton Ave. Okay, no doubt, Mark. Clinton Ave in the house. Another Clinton Ave. 585. Rock City, Rocktown, The Rock. For folks like Jeff in the UK, that's we have a lot of sayings, right, Mark? And Red Comic, and my other man that was on here earlier, 585. A lot of sayings. Rochester is referred to as the Rock, Rock City, Rock Town, the ROC, 585. And, again, some folks, and I'm done with that, trying to make people see something, some folks are just never going to see it. Some folks are just, no matter what, the Lost Barrel, no doubt. That's another one, the Lost Barrel. Yep. Yep. You're right. The Lost Barrel way upstate from the other barrels. So, some folks are just never going to see it, And what's a little sad here, is that it was recently 25 years that my dad has been gone, Mario Vara. And, by the way, there's a good article on the Fader magazine. If anybody wants to Google Mario Vara, Mario Vara, Vara. If they want to Google Mario Vara, Fader magazine, Fader, or Mario Vara Cop Watchers, a nice link will come up on the internet for the Fader magazine. Last year they wrote a piece about cop watchers throughout the country, and they mentioned my dad. My dad was a pioneer when it came to recording cops. I'm talking about in the 1980s, long before YouTube, long before social media is what it is today, long before smartphones that I'm talking into right now, right? An iPhone. And I miss my dad very much. And if anybody wonders, new people that are bumping to this video, what's up with this Cuban guy? You know what I mean? Why is he, why is he so passionate about stuff? If anybody, let me move here real quick. If anybody, hey, park over here. If anybody wonders, what's up with this guy and why is he the way he is, why is he so passionate about police stuff, then you know what I mean? I got it from my dad. So, anyways, love y'all. Again, some folks are just never going to see the what's right in front of them when it comes to police and their above the law mentality, right? And self-entitled behavior mentality. And that's okay, but, it's all good. Keep doing your thing, bro. Be safe out there. Thank you, Mike. Don't forget to look out for Fluke Dog channel in the UK. Worth looking at. I promise you I'm going to do that, Jeff, and thank you for that. All right? Anyways, love y'all. And, again, I'm going to keep playing with the times a little bit. And I'll get back at y'all with another live real soon. Again, all the new subscribers, check out the more than 800 videos. Love y'all. Peace.